Hello, everyone, and welcome to this recitation of our Lenten Black Books for this year. Today we will be listening to the prayers and meditations of March 31st, Wednesday of Holy Week. This is entitled The Five Wounds of Jesus. During Jesus' time, crucifixion was done in different ways. Sometimes the victim was tied to the cross with ropes. At other times, nails were used, at least for the hands. The Passion accounts don't provide information about the wounds of Jesus except for the wound in his side. None of the four evangelists actually describe how Jesus was affixed to the cross or what he looked like when he hung on the cross. They simply say that he was crucified. And for people who lived in a time and place where crucifixions happened, that was enough. It is in the resurrection stories of Luke and John that readers learn about his wounds. Luke, the risen Jesus says to his disciples, "Look at my hands and feet, it is I, myself." John, the risen Jesus, shows the disciples his hands and side. Thus the five wounds, 2 in his hands, 2 in his feet, and 1 in his side. During the First Crusade, the Crusaders carried banners bearing a cross that became known as the Jerusalem Cross. The cross has an elaborate design with many symbolic elements. 4 Tau crosses representing Old Testament teachings, 4 Greek crosses representing the New Testament, a central cross representing Christ, and 5 crosses representing Jesus' wounds on the cross. From Mark's Gospel. They led Jesus away to the high priest, and all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes came together. Some began to spit on Jesus. They blindfolded him and struck him and said to him, "Prophesy." And the guards greeted him with blows. Imagine a group of Christians gathered to celebrate Eucharist about 10 years after the death and resurrection of Jesus. They would have a reading from the Old Testament, but not from the New Testament because there wasn't a New Testament yet. None of the Gospels or other New Testament books had yet been written. So the early Christians would have told stories about what Jesus said and what Jesus did, and the story they told the most was of Jesus' suffering and death. We know this because the narratives of the Passion and death are so similar in all 4 Gospels. This story took shape so quickly because it was repeated so often. By the time the Gospels were written, the spoken account of the story of the Passion had a fairly set form. Why do they talk the most about this part of Jesus' life? Why not talk about the triumphant parts rather than this story with all of the failures of the disciples and the insults to Jesus? They repeated the story over and over because they knew the ending, the glory of risen life. The ending made the Passion story a story of hope. If God can take something this awful, this ugly, this humiliating, this senseless, and transform it into something life-giving, meaningful, beautiful, then God can take the worst things that we've done or the worst things that have been done to us and transform them. In God's hands, nothing is unforgivable. Everything is transformable, even us.